Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I often note I'm going to circle back. I hate to disappoint conservative Twitter, but I am going to circle back on a number of things, as we often do directly. I'll circle back, circle back. I hate to disappoint you. Circle back, circle back. That's an excellent question. Circle back, circle back. I hate to disappoint you, but we will venture to circle back with all of you.
Taking cocaine or not? What do you think?
This This is such a good question. I have not had the opportunity to dig into that. I'll circle back.
It was a massive dump. To this day, everyone's trying to figure out where did it come from.
I'm not aware of anything, but we'll circle back.
This uncircumcised Philistine, who does he think he is?
As a mom myself, I want to know all the details. I have to circle back.
Come on, man. You know what I mean?
I will venture to get you an answer on that, and maybe we can talk about it, and we'll circle back. I will have to circle back on that one. But we'll circle back. But I will have to circle back with you. Let me give you a very specific example. I'll circle back. Circle back. I hate to disappoint you. Circle back. Circle back. That's an excellent question. Circle back. Circle back. I hate to disappoint you, but we will venture to circle back.
This president knew back in January. Why didn't he tell us? Why didn't he warn us?
There are a number of ways to combat misinformation. One of them is circle back.
You told us that Trump was invincible and Hillary was in a prison, right?
I don't really have any predictions for you on that. I can circle back. Let me see if I can get more detail for you on that. Circle back.
I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Did you?
We'll try to get to as many questions as possible. I'll circle back. I don't have anything more for you.
We'll circle back.
And that communication has been lacking.
Circle back.
Well, as you know,
We'll circle back.
let me give you a very specific example. I'll circle back. Circle back. I hate to disappoint you. Circle back. Circle back. That's an excellent question. Circle back. Circle back. I hate to disappoint you, but we will venture to circle back with all of you.
What the fuck?
I love What the Fuck Pros remixes, dude. They are just fantastic. Hope everyone's having a good day. I'm honestly, I don't know why I say this. Like I say at the start of every stream, I'm a little bit out of it because I didn't sleep great. Apparently, sleeping well is just a thing I don't do anymore. So we're gonna live with that. We're just gonna rock with it. Every stream from here going forward will be a low energy stream, but it'll be a great low energy stream. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, I got a cough. Like I said, great low energy stream. No moments of having to mute yourself to cough literally as soon as you go live at all. Definitely not a thing that just happened. How's everybody doing today? Did I ever add that? I did. Alright, how's everybody doing today? Hope y'all doing well. We have a bit of a lighter day on news. Well, I mean, there's some big things that happened, but one of the things I'm going to be covering is honestly a bit more funny than anything. And then, I mean, the rest is going to be Israel coverage and just some quick right-wing reactions. So it'll be a fun day. If you have been watching like the news, you should at least be expecting a little bit of what I'm going to be talking about with Israel. I am not as optimistic as a lot of people seem to be, and I'm going to go into why exactly. But first, we're going to go ahead and start with the funnies. That way, once we get into the serious, we can just sit down and really, really get into it. Like, you may see on the internet all the time right-wing pundits talking about how the left just refuses to debate. No one will debate them. No one wants to debate. No one wants to come up into the free marketplace of ideas. It's all just a bunch of people who want to throw their feels around and have no basis for their arguments and just want to sit in their own little bubble on Twitter. Now, I, for one, have always said that's projection. The biggest debate bros in the world are lefty dudes. I knew that before I was a leftist. Like, back when I was just a teenage kid who had no idea about politics literally at all. Like, to the point where when I got into politics, I became a libertarian because I liked drugs and wanted to not go to jail for them. Like, even I knew that, like, socialist, well, I thought they were all communists at the time, but, like, those types of dudes were the biggest debate bros in the world. But I digress on that. You also see a whole lot of Republicans that refuse to come in to debate at all. I mean, we saw it with Donald Trump almost refusing multiple times to show up to the presidential debates because he didn't like that he wasn't allowed to yell and interrupt people, and like essentially saying that every single time he went to those debates, it was biased people giving the questions and trying to moderate the debate. And you also saw it with David Perdue, who lost his seat to John Ossoff. David Perdue literally did not show up to multiple debates during his race, and sadly didn't lose by that much. Like, John Ossoff only won by a little bit. That's how strong the Perdue name is, and like how strong the red vote is in Georgia. They didn't even have to show up 2 debates to almost win. The reason I bring this all up is because, one, I do really, really, really hate it whenever I see people go out and do the whole lefties won't debate me thing, because then you see a whole bunch of lefties, a lot of times with people of comparable like viewership sizes, so you can't even say it's just a bunch of like tiny creators that they don't want to debate at all, or platform. Like, they get all ignored, or just like say that they're, that it didn't match up, or that like do the thing that Dave Rubin did and look for something that your debate opponent said like negatively about you before and say that you won't come on because it's just going to be a harassment campaign, or even have somebody that's associated with you say something very negative about you. Like, the list of reasons for right-wingers to not show up to debates is pretty endless. I mean, the real reason is either they know they'd get blown the fuck out, a la Steven Crowder's dad telling him not to go debate Sam Cedar, or something more akin to Senator Perdue's, ex-Senator Perdue's predicament, where he had some fraud cases that were likely to be brought up if he, that were like in process, that were likely to be brought up if he actually went in to do the debate. But outside of that, the actual reason I'm bringing this up is about 2 days ago, one of the funniest headlines I've seen in a long time popped up. RNC vows to advise candidates against future presidential debates unless the commission makes significant changes. Literally, the RNC chair is just saying that their candidates aren't going to debate anymore unless their demands are met. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the weird hostage situation we got going here. Before we get into it, if you get to the end of the video and you enjoyed it, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Helps the channel grow a ton, and I really, really do appreciate it. And with the shill out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at this article. It's like, I saw the headline and read a little bit of it, and I was like, well, CNN has to be mischaracterizing this, right? I mean, we've gone over their media bias fact check page before. CNN isn't great about how they characterize things, especially when it comes from more right-wing punditry. However, you get to some quotes in here that are just directly from the RNC chair, Ronna McDaniel, that are pretty explicit. Like, I don't see any way that you could say this was taken out of context. And what this is all referring to is a letter that Ronna McDaniel sent to both the Presidential Debate Commission as well as the CNN correspondence desk. Letter reads that the CPD's repeated missteps, that's the Commission on Presidential Debates, repeated missteps and the partisan action of its board members make clear that the organization no longer provides the fair and impartial forum for presidential debates which the law requires and the American people deserve, she wrote. So, our sincere, I honestly, I have no idea how many people are watching. I multi-stream, so I don't even have a viewer count up. It's all I can see is just restream chat. Our sincere hope is that the CPD accepts this criticism and works to correct its mistakes, she added. If not, the RNC will have no choice but to advise future Republican candidates against participating in CPD-hosted debates, and the RNC will look for other options for its candidates to debate the issues before the American people in a neutral and nonpartisan forum. Now, you'll notice that there was no actual, direct criticisms or demands made there. It's just that they feel that they were treated unfairly, and they want to feel treated less unfairly. And if they don't feel treated less unfairly, they won't debate anymore. This is all BS. No one's going to go through with this. This is all posturing just to get a headline out, go ahead and complain that Donald Trump got treated unfairly during debates because he couldn't yell and whine like a baby while other people were talking. And go ahead and just play off of that for a while to get a little bit of support and backing from the media. And then, of course, since there's no actual demands to be met, the presidential debate chair will go, or committee will go, well, yes, we understand your concerns, and we will look into making sure it's a fair and equitable process. And then literally nothing changes after that. I personally guarantee you that there's not going to be any actual changes that get made. They, at the worst, might make it so, if you worked for someone, 4 decades ago, you can no longer, be a moderator for the debate. Because I think that was what right-wingers, biggest contention that wasn't, just openly complaining was during this last election, was that, was it Chris Christie? I honestly can't remember who it was, worked with Joe Biden literally decades prior to that. Now, that was the one that was sent out to the Committee for Presidential Debates, and here's what was added into the one that was sent directly to CNN. The Republican Party needs assurances that the CPD will make meaningful reforms to the debate process by working with stakeholders to restore the faith and legitimacy it has lost, she said. If not, as RNC chairman, I will have no choice but to advise future Republican candidates against participating in CPD-hosted debates. Once again, there's no actual demands made here. If we get down, I believe it's down here, you get to the only actual demand is, it should be obvious, for instance, that no person should serve as a moderator who previously worked for one of the candidates. Like I said, there was a moderator that had worked for Joe Biden. I think it was 42 years prior to the debate or something close to that. It was, and I remember reading it being reported on, it was 4 decades ago. But that was their one big demand. So I can see that change being made where they go, okay, whatever. And the other point that is even brought up in the article is lauding President Trump for his background in television, because had it not been for him, had it not been caught by the President of the United States, the CPD's unforced error would have caused a surprising and awkward distraction for both candidates once the cameras started to roll. What she's talking about there was the plastic partitions that were up between people so that you wouldn't get COVID from Trump, who had COVID, actively had COVID during that first debate, hacking and coughing his way around. That's the entire letter, is Donald Trump did a good, and he saw that there was glare on plastic, so we should be nice to him. And also, you were very mean to us during our last debates, and we didn't like that, so we want you to put in a no be mean clause. If you go ahead and follow the no be mean clause, we're going to debate. If not, we won't. There's no shot, no chance at all that the Republican Party just refuses to debate like for presidential campaigns anymore. Because the Democratic Party isn't going to go anywhere besides the Commission on Presidential Debates. Like, they're not going to do it in another forum. And, like, if the Republican Party refuses to do it, they just refuse to have any of that airtime. Like, they refuse to have any of that for them during the election season. Like, that can work out for you with someone that has a cult of personality like Donald Trump or something. And, well, especially when he still had access to social media and could continue to easily build up his fan base. But, like, if you don't have someone who is a cult of personality candidate, you absolutely need to be going to presidential debates to be able to get as much airtime as possible. Like, and like the way that it reflects negatively on you as a candidate for not showing up to debates, like, isn't great. I mean, unfortunately, this last runoff election with John Ossoff and Senator Perdue kind of showed, well, I guess Senator Ossoff and David Perdue now, kind of showed us that even not showing up to multiple debates isn't even the biggest death nail for a Republican candidate's campaign, but certainly does not help. People will still vote for you just because you have the R there, but that appeal to moderates just does not happen at all if you aren't going on debates and like having an active, aggressive campaign. Whatever happened to that Trump social network thing, now that I think about it? Because he got kicked off Twitter and made his own, like, social network, right? But I haven't heard anything about it since it launched, like, a month ago. Wonder what it's up to. Trump No way. No way, dude. No way, dude. Bullshit. Bullshit. Come on. You're gonna make me remove my ad block NBC? Alright, or fucking CNBC? Alright, fine. Because I want to see this shut down. No way that this shut down. What was the website again? Where's that? I can't even find it. It's gone. Wow. There's a precursor. It said yes, it's actually. Stay tuned. Unveiled last month. Right, where's that? I want to see the unveiling of it. What's it called? What was it called, at least? There was no way it's called From the Desk of Donald J. Trump.
Now to this, Facebook says it's deferring its decision to indefinitely
ban
Donald Trump from its platform to an over. We think it is.
Stop. Fucking Fox auto playing their shit. Oh my god, now it's just DonaldJRTrump.com. Care to discuss the flat earth? I mean, what do you want to discuss about it? Like, holy shit, I cannot believe this. So, about 32 days, actually, I'm gonna do this as recording. About 32 days ago, like, Donald Trump's website from the desk of Donald J. Trump, which was essentially his replacement for like being banned from Twitter and Facebook. It was just a blog that was a bunch of press releases from the desk of President Donald J. Trump. Now, I thought that, okay, hey, weird that he didn't make it like the My Pillow guy tried to do and make it like a real social media thing. But hey, whatever. Like, it's Donald Trump. He's kind of self-obsessed. He doesn't really want to see, like, he didn't ever care about the comments or anything that were on his Twitter posts. Like, he didn't care about the like ratios. He didn't care about how many comments were on there or anything like that. It was just, he liked knowing he had a place where he said things and people looked at them. Like, that's 100% what it was for him. So, a movement to, like, a blog style kind of site made sense. I figured it was just going to be him doing his kind of daily insane rants that really don't ever lead to anything. But apparently, I was wrong there. Like, I thought I was going to be up for quite a while so we could rant on it. I mean, Trump, you'd think that the Trumpsters love Donald Trump enough that they'd go to his site and, like, read everything he has to say and do stuff, right? Well, it was a blog site where you couldn't, like, comment or leave your own, like, posts and talk to each other during it. And then, like, end up, or sorry, so since there was no way to comment to each other and actually engage, there wasn't a large user base. Within 32 days from the launch of this site, Donald Trump's site has gone down, will no longer be returning, and just links to his donaldtrump.com site now. So you can go to his donation page and go ahead and look through like his shop for fundraising. Like if I remember right, you can buy like $50 mugs and shit for fundraising. Bro, what are you even talking about, Fox? Like, this has nothing to do with Fox. Oh, because I said Fox autoplay. Yeah, no, I just don't like places that autoplay their videos. Like, if you're gonna, especially when it's not a video that's on the article. Like, I opened up an article and it autoplayed fucking another news article over top of it. That shit annoys me. Also, Fox is pretty incredibly biased. Like, yeah, they haven't really hid that they're biased at all. I mean, not anymore. They used to call themselves like fair and balanced news. Like when they literally called themselves fair and balanced news for a long time, like pretty much the entirety of me growing up actually, they were kind of full of shit. Like eventually people just caught on to the game and they didn't try to lie about it anymore. Now they're just down to have Tucker Carlson go like, the chickens, they're gonna ban the chickens. The goddamn libs want to come for you and your cock love. I don't even remember what I was talking about. That chicken article, every time I think about it, I just like, my mind drifts off and I just think of Tucker Carlson doing his like face as the chicken alert like graphic goes right up behind him. Like that may be one of my favorite pictures of all time. Oh boy. Let's close out all these Trump websites. Like I had too much open there. I guess we should actually go into some of the stuff I promised. Alright. if you've been following my channel for like the last at least like 3 to 4 weeks, you've seen a decent, oh, at least my streams, you've seen a decent bit of coverage on the Israel and Palestine conflict, specifically more around like Gaza and the West Bank. I've done some bits on like the evictions from Sheikh Jarrah and the Al-Aqsa and like what's been going on in Al-Aqsa Mosque. And specifically talking about like the attitude and mindset behind Benjamin Netanyahu and the far right Israeli government that was currently participating in apartheid. Now, if you've been catching up or at least like staying kind of recent on the news, you'll see that there's at least some what seems to be kind of good news that came out in the last few days surrounding Benjamin Netanyahu and his stint as prime minister. If you haven't known, Benjamin Netanyahu has been, actually, God, I forgot the exact amount. Is it 10 or 14 years? I think it's 14 years, right? Hold on. When did you take office, sir? That's gonna take too long for me to look up because apparently this man's Wikipedia article is massive. I can't even get to anywhere where his like political career started. Like I know he started his political career in like housing and construction and then like went to foreign affairs and shit. But after that, I'm fairly certain that he did a long stint as prime minister. Anyway, for those of you who weren't aware, like Benjamin Netanyahu has been prime minister for quite a while and has been pushing a pretty far right exclusionary like view on the Palestinian conflict. I mean, it's no different than pretty much anyone else who's been a prime minister of Israel before him, but just because it's not that much different doesn't mean it's good. Now, that being said, people have been, for many reasons outside of just what has been going on with Palestinians, like a lot of the reasons are economic and relate to like wars with other Arab countries. There has been a push to try to get Benjamin Netanyahu out for quite a while. And the way that the Israeli government works is by a system that's called it's Knesset. Knesset is essentially their legislative Congress, but it's the end-all be-all for that. And it's 120 votes. So the way you end up having your political power and becoming a prime minister is, oh Jesus, I'm so blind. I literally was looking for how long he's been in office and was staring at the entire time. 12 years. He took office on March 31st of 2009. Anyway, the way that you become prime minister is by getting enough votes from that parliamentarian system. So, coalitions are a very, very strong aspect of Israeli politics. I mean, if you want to get anything done, you have to be working with multiple parties that have majority rule. And, yeah, they already have majority rule. And Jesus, I need to get more sleep. Sorry, I am completely blanking out as I start to talk. Fuck. I might need to restart this segment. Hold on, sorry guys, give me a second. I'm gonna drink some water and fucking reset here. Jesus. Anyway, you'll have seen that there's been a coalition forming, and for the first time, including a Israeli Arab party that is formed to oust Benjamin Netanyahu. Now this is good news in that Netanyahu will no longer be the prime minister of Israel. Like that does do big things. I mean, like I said, he's been in office for 12 years now. And there have been a lot of problems with corruption, like internally, and a lot of internal economic problems that have also led to this happening. I also believe like there's a lot of his views on like the death penalty have been hotly contested recently. Now the reason that I say it's only a partially good thing here is just simply that the coalition government that's forming and that is going to take power it's not like it's a group of liberals or lefties. That's parties that are further left than Netanyahu's, don't get me wrong, but the first person set to take over as prime minister would be Naftali Bennett of the New Right Party. Like he was one of the co-founders of a party literally called the New Right, whose like principles that they push for are like I believe it's stuff like the land of Israel belonging to the Jewish people exclusively. They like oppose the establishment of a Palestinian state at all. Now I do think like there is some positive stuff in there. Don't get me wrong. Like they are one of the parties that like want religious and secular Jews to work together. At least like there's still some contention there between like different parties that don't want to work with secular Jews. And I believe that Naftali Bennett's like one of Naftali Bennett's proposed solutions was that Israel gets all the land, but at least they would at the very least give Palestinians citizenship so they could participate in citizenship. But like that's about as like left as you're gonna get with Naftali Bennett. I mean, other stuff in there is like they believe in like full on economic liberalism, and specifically believe in like a promotion of a high tech industry through like a laissez-faire capitalism approach. And the reason for that is that Naftali Bennett was the CEO and is still a majority shareholder of multiple tech firms before he entered governing. Like before he became the Minister of Education, he worked for, I believe it was 3 tech startups that he was the CEO of. So he has a vested interest in there being less regulation and allowing his companies to grow at an exponential rate. The party goes hard on like the whole personal freedom and personal responsibility line. Like you should be kind of noticing a pattern here, and that's a pretty much a far right party, just like any other countries. I mean, they look the same no matter what country you're in, just there's specifics that change. Obviously, in Israel, there's a very hot land dispute going on right now, so that's going to be addressed in the party's positions. God, sorry, let me go through another couple of them. So there's one specific quote about a nation state that's on their website that I want to get here for you. There we go. Israel is the nation state of the Jewish people and only of the Jewish people. Now, that's why I kind of don't believe him when he says he wants to give Palestinian citizenship. Because when you literally on your site, one of your stated like foundational goals is a nation state of Jewish people and only Jewish people. Now that is the further right section of this coalition, unfortunately also the largest portion of this coalition by quite a bit. I think it's like a difference of 17 votes to the next highest being like 6 votes that the coalition has. The next party that comes up is a bit better. It's led by Yair Lapid. Let me actually pull the party's name up here. But Yair Lapid is more of a centrist in Israel. He actually believes in a two-state solution, like isn't just about dissolving Palestine and like against a Palestinian state at all. However, that's about as far left as he goes, because he also believes that the Palestinian state needs to be entirely demilitarized and handled by Israel and Egypt. And also, weirdly enough, well, I mean, not weirdly enough, he wants to run for an office and have any chance in Israel, is very, very vocal, very, very frequently about the UN condemning war crimes happening in Israel. Now, well, hey, don't get me wrong, like I just said, I understand if you want to have any chance of, like, existing as any kind of political force in Israel, and not having your party have 1 to 2 votes in the Knesset, like, then you kind of gotta toe that line a bit, right? But for everyone who's acting like this is going to be some huge revolutionary change that's going to change everything up for the world, like, or change everything up for Palestinians at the very least, you kind of gotta look at who this coalition is and what they've been pushing for. Like, Yair Lapid at least is a bit more to the center, and apparently is supposed to take over after Naftali Bennett. But the only thing that these parties have been, like, agreeing on at all is getting Bennett out. Like, this is going to be, like, after, or sorry, not Bennett, Jesus, getting Netanyahu out. After Netanyahu's out, this is going to be a barely tenable situation for a lot of these parties, especially the Israeli Arab Party, that isn't exactly popular among parties that call themselves the new right. But in case anyone thinks that I'm just being kind of ridiculous here, I wanted to go ahead and take a look at some interviews that Naftali Bennett has done, and just hear a bit of it in his own words.
We believe, according to sources in the United States, that John Kerry may be looking for a construction settlement.
I had no idea why that does that every time.
Israeli
so weird.
In all of the remoter parts of the West Bank as part of a framework to move this peace.
Now, sorry, let me, I forgot to characterize this a bit. This was in 2014, so his views may have changed a little bit, but there's been nothing that I've seen and no, like, interviews or quotes that I've seen to indicate that at all.
Forward. Would you support Mr. Netanyahu if he does contemplate that sort of construction freeze?
I think that stopping anyone from living in our land is a profound mistake. By the way, no one's asking the Palestinians to freeze their building. If it would be a mutual, that would be...
And this is talking about construction efforts to essentially go in and build Israeli settlements inside of the West Bank to take over Jerusalem. And that's actually one of the large parts of the problems I have with Yair Lapid too, is that specifically in the two-state solution that Yair Lapid was okay with, Israel would get all of Jerusalem. Like, that's not going to fly with anyone in Palestine. Once again, that's a holy site for both religions, and the third most holy site in Palestinians' religion, Al-Aqsa Mosque, is in Jerusalem. Like, there's no way that that would ever fly without conflict.
A mutual
But it kind of makes
construction
sense
freeze.
because Yair Lapid also blames Palestinians for the conflict that we're in, for the continued aggravation, because Palestinians don't want to negotiate.
That's something that could be thought upon.
Sure, but
to
if you would
freeze
just
Jews only
address the
is
direct
unacceptable.
question, will you support, will you accept the concept of a construction freeze as part of Kerry's framework for moving this two-state peace deal forward?
No, of course not. Why should I stop building in my land? It's my home.
So you're saying to Mr. Netanyahu, if he's contemplating such a freeze, it'll be a deal breaker for you and you'll walk out of the coalition?
What I'm saying is, why don't you had now half a year. No demonstrations on the street. You can walk around Israel, everyone's just leading their lives. They had time to reach a deal. You want more time, take more time. Why isn't there a deal to be made? I'll tell you why. Because the Palestinians do not recognize Israel as the Jewish state. It's that simple.
Yeah, because the Palestinians won't give up the land that we want to take from them, so we're not going to take the deal, is essentially what he's saying here. And once again, this is Naftali Bennett essentially complaining that Netanyahu was too far left in his decisions right now. That a construction freeze, while they were trying to come to terms to make a deal here, was a bad call and too liberal. And that they needed to continue to just take what is rightfully theirs.
Used to say 2 states for 2 peoples. They don't say that anymore. They just say 2 states because they want a Palestinian state and then a Palestinian Jewish state. And they're not willing to fundamentally accept Israel as a Jewish state. So why should we?
We've just spoken to Saeb Erekat, the chief Palestinian negotiator, on this program. He says this is not an issue. We have recognized Israel. We recognized Israel back in 1990.
That was just a complaint that the Palestinians aren't okay with ethno-states. Like, yeah, ethno-states aren't good. Like, that's crazy that that's an argument that has to be made. But anytime you're talking about Israeli occupation, you kind of have to remember that the Israeli project, at least from what a lot of people in the Israeli government and people in power say it is a ethno-state for Israel where they have all of what they consider to be their land from being given to them during the Bible.
With the Oslo Accords. Recognizing the Jewish nature of the State of Israel is different, says Mr. Erekat, because first of all there's the issue of the citizenship of the, the hundreds of thousands.
1.5 million.
1.5 million Palestinian Arabs who live as citizens inside Israel, but they're not Jewish. There is also the question of refugees. Unfinished business in the negotiation. What will happen to those 48 refugees or their descendants, some of whom seriously insist that they ought to be allowed back to their ancestors' homes inside your country? So that's unfinished business.
That's exactly the point. I mean, here's what Erekat is essentially saying. Divide the land, give us half of it, first of all. Now we've got our Palestinian state. And now let's start debating your half, and let's turn it into a binational state. No, it's got to be the homeland of the Jews. We only have one homeland. The Arabs have 22. There's 300 times the size.
Literally, it's not fair. They have countries where they can go to. And also, those places aren't ethno-states, though. Ridiculous. It's absolutely ludicrous. There is no defense of why they shouldn't have why they shouldn't be allowed to live there and live in their homes. So it has to always revert to, we deserve to have our ethno-state. We deserve to have that.
Size of our tiny state. I don't know how many of your viewers realize that from the ocean to the Green Line, it's a 10-minute ride. That's how narrow our state is. But he wants a piece of that. What he doesn't get is he needs to recognize Israel as a Jewish state. And yes, we only have one, the Jewish nation only has one state in the world, and that's Israel. But if he wants it to be this multinational state, that means he wants his state, and then the day we sign that deal, he'll begin fighting for the small Jewish state.
Isn't the fundamental fallacy...
So, literally, the worry there is once we let these people, once we let Palestine have a statehood, have autonomy, and, start actually being a state, then they're going to want rights and to be able to immigrate here. Gross. I don't want the Browns near me. Like,
the heart of your...
it's, at the end of the day, it's a land grab. Like, it's for land and power that just uses religious extremism and nationalism as excuses to fuel it.
Your argument, that you're sort of suggesting to me that you might, if the circumstances were very different, accept a two-state solution. But the fact is, you will never accept a two-state solution, because as far as you are concerned, ideologically, all of the land between the Mediterranean and the Jordan River belongs irrevocably to Israel.
Well, first of all,
do you believe that, yes or no?
First of all, it does. I mean, we have, this land has been ours for thousands of years. I just yesterday gave a coin that's 2,200 years old to Martin Schulz as a gift. And it's got Hebrew on it. So we've been in this land way longer than America has been in American land, and even British in the British land. I do recognize that in our land there are 2 million Palestinians. They've got aspirations. They're not going anywhere, but we're not going anywhere. So we got to figure out how to live together, how to work it out.
Yet, Naftali Bennett and his party oppose a two-state solution at all. Says there should be no Palestinian state, and that the West Bank should be annexed completely. So, like, if they're not going anywhere at all, what exactly is your plan to make Israel a Jewish-only state that has all of the land that you want, but also somehow doesn't displace the Palestinians there, but they also just won't be there because it's Jewish-only? Like, it's inherently contradictory, because at the end of the day, what the actual answer is no, we want to kick them all out. Either kick them all out or kill them if needed, so that we can have all of the land. Like, that's all the conversation actually is at the end of the day, and it's just pleasantries around it to try to hide how bloodthirsty it is. And this one's going to be a bit more of a recent interview. You may have seen like clips of this going around on Twitter, where it's very specifically like Mehdi Hassan is asking about about the West Bank, and Naftali Bennett just starts yelling about the Bible. I figured it would be good for us to go ahead and take a full look at it. Hey, DFKG, how's it going? Let's go ahead. Sorry, I am loading super slow here. I hit play and just nothing's happening. Well then. Technical difficulties, I guess. Oh, okay, I just had to click it a couple more times and it worked. We're good.
Naftali Bennett, thanks for joining me on Upfront. You said the election of Donald Trump is an opportunity for...
Now, this is a while, this is when he was
Israel.
On Al Jazeera doing Upfront, is a little while back.
Because the
Mehdi Hassan does really good work, though.
era of a Palestinian state is over. President Trump said last week he doesn't mind the idea of a one-state rather than a two-state solution. Is that your view too?
Well, there already exist two states for the Palestinians. One in Gaza, a full-blown state run by Hamas, and the other is Jordan, where 70...
Oh, is this the freedom of information thing that happened with Fauci? What I haven't got to look into it yet. What came out about it? I assume it's going to be a decent bit of just the background on what the government knew that we didn't know. And then I don't know for certain, but I'm gonna toss a curveball in there and say that Fauci calls Americans stupid at some point.
70% of the citizens are indeed Palestinians. So the discussion is whether we need a third Palestinian state smack in the heart of Israel, and the answer is no. We need to strengthen Israel and create regional peace based on a common interest, which is to fight against radical Iran, which is out to create a hegemony in the region.
Well, of course, no one in the world agrees with you that Gaza and Jordan are Palestinian states. In fact, the United Nations says Gaza is still officially occupied by Israel.
Like that, Gaza is an open-air prison, and, like, Jordan is under occupation. Like, neither of those are Palestinian states.
But let's just focus on this one state that does exist right now in that area, specifically the state of Israel, which you're a minister of, representative of. Isn't the real question that if there is just one state left standing in that particular patch of land, should it be a state in which Jews and Palestinians live side by side as equal citizens, or should it be a state in which Jewish citizens are privileged over Palestinian citizens, while millions of other Palestinians remain under occupation without a right to self-determination?
Well, first of all, I beg to differ. In Gaza, we did everything by the book. We pulled back to the 67 lines, pulled out our military, pulled out and expelled our people.
They also still currently control the water and electricity and border crossing in and out of Gaza. Like, there's no way that you can call Gaza its own state. It has absolutely no autonomy.
People and handed it over to Abu Mazen. They today have a state there. They decided to shoot tens of thousands of rockets on Israelis, and we fight back. Israel will not tolerate terror states. Likewise in Jordan, 70% of Jordanians, while you dispute that, that's a fact, or you don't like it, but that's a fact. Regarding Israel,
wait, what does that even mean? 70% of Jordanians, you don't like that? That's a fact. Like, what does that even mean? Like, no, that's not its own state either.
Perhaps the only true democracy in the Middle East, where we have about 1.8 million Arabs, including a Supreme Court justice, including 13 Arab members of Knesset. I don't see any Jewish members of Knesset in any Arab Muslim countries. So
just on that point,
Israel, we have a full, vibrant democracy which will
on the democratic point, Israel is a democracy, of course, for some people. Of course, Israel also rules over 3 million Palestinians.
Now, remember, this interview was given well before the current the current developments that have happened, like, today. Like, an Arab Israeli party had never, like, had actual real power in the Israel government before this current coalition that they're in. Like, they had never been in a coalition to, like, get somebody to be prime minister, get them ousted before. They typically have very, very limited votes in the Knesset. Like, they exist there, sure, but those parties, it may as well be the DSA in America. Like, sure, the Democratic Socialists of America exist, but it's not like we exactly have much power in anything, like, outside of local governments.
In the occupied West Bank. For 40 years, you've ruled over millions of people who have no vote whatsoever to control their lives. How are you democratic when you're not giving them a vote? And I believe your plan now is to annex a chunk of the West Bank, I think 60% of the West Bank. That's how you want to supposedly end the conflict. And yet you'll leave millions of people again without a state, without self-determination, without a government of their own, without nationhood.
You should do your homework. We've been there 50 years, not 40 years. They do vote. They vote for the...
I love how pedantic it has to get, like, oh, we had an extra 10 years there, sir. Our nation is that much more legitimate. I'm sorry. Like, there are people that I personally know today that are older than Israel is. Like, sitting there and acting like getting a 10-year difference off on it matters at all to what he just said kind of just shows the level of like deflection that you get to when you're trying to defend genocide.
Palestinian parliament, they voted in 2006. Abu Mazen decided not to hold more elections. You should probably ask him about democracy and how democracy should be. But they have their own flag, their own anthem. Yes, it's less than a state because we're not about to commit suicide, but they do have self-determination. Not everyone in the world who wants a state gets one. The Kurds, for example, don't have a state. They want one. The Basques want a state. They don't have one. The Palestinians have 2 states. They will not get a third one in the heart of our country.
You're right about that. It is.
Okay, so also, it's not a great play to be like, well, what the Turks have done to the Kurds is super fucked up. Like, or sorry, the Syrians have done to the Kurds is super fucked up. Like, it's not, that's just saying, well, other people do bad things. The bad thing that we did isn't that bad, because we gave them a specific set of land that we're gonna do the bad things to them in. Like, literally all this is here is him going, we haven't succeeded yet, though. Come back and complain to me once we've succeeded in our ethnic cleansing, sir.
Is coming up to a much longer period. It's the longest military occupation in the world. Thanks for reminding me of that. In terms of peace plans, you've said on record, quote, just wishing a plan doesn't make it real. But isn't that exactly what you do when you wish for a solution? 60% of the West Bank annexed by Israel in violation of international law. That's wishing a plan that will never happen. The Palestinians will never agree to that. They haven't agreed to occupation all these decades. They've been resisting occupation all these decades. Why would they change now, especially when Israel is increasingly isolated on the issue of occupation?
And especially when Israel has not, like, when it has been isolated on, like, occupation, has increased its, like, how violent it's gotten with its occupation, has increased the number of evictions it's going through, like, has increased the amount of, like, the amount that the courts will say that Palestinian property was built illegally, so now it's up to go to Israeli families. Like, with all of that increasing, why would Palestinians, one, even trust you in the first place, but also agree to give up 60% of Jerusalem? Like, give up almost, like, over half of one of the few areas that they even have left that they're allowed to live in.
You've got a mistake. We're not isolated at all. Israel's commerce and export has tripled itself over the past 12 years. BDS
Good thing he
started
wasn't talking
in
about, like,
2005,
economics at all.
the supposed BDS. We've tripled our commerce. We've got a 6% growth, the biggest high-tech in the world
15
after
countries
Silicon
in the
Valley.
Security Council just passed a resolution. 14 of them voted against you, and America abstained. Not a single country voted with you. The EU, the UN, the Russians, the Chinese, the US, they all view this as an illegal occupation.
I have never actually seen this full interview before. I've only seen the clips that are floating around Twitter. Like, Mehdi Hassan goes in on him. I love it. I'm loving it. Remember, by the way, this guy on screen, or not Mehdi Hassan, but Naftali Bennett, the guy getting interviewed right now, is the person that you see progressives and liberals being excited is going to be the new prime minister. Being excited that his party, the New Right, is going to be who's taking care of, like, Israel and Palestine conflicts here. I mean, the dude was literally the Minister of Defense up until last year in November.
Legal settlements. You are completely isolated on the issue of occupation and settlements. You know that, Naftali.
No, quite the contrary. I think we've had endless Security Council resolutions against Israel, but Israel continues to be the strongest and growing force in the Middle East. If I were the Arabs, I'd focus on finding a way to work together with Israel against Iran, Hezbollah, who seem to be taking over much of the Middle East. If the Arab countries, the Sunnite countries, don't want to be butchered by their Shiite neighbor, they ought to cooperate with us. This is a mutual interest. We need to work together against the big menace. We're not about, let me be very clear
okay,
there.
hold on.
Madi,
hold on.
we are not going to give up our tiny piece of land. It's not going to happen, so get on with it.
Okay, so rather than play kind of divide and rule where you turn Sunnis against Shias and vice versa, let me ask you about what Israel is doing. I had senior spokesman for Hamas, Osama Hamdan, on this show a few weeks ago, and he actually said basically his organization will be willing to live with a Palestinian state in the West Bank alongside Israel. You say a flat no to that, which means you're basically more uncompromising now, more extreme than Hamas is. The Israeli government has a more extreme position than Hamas. Wow.
Well, Hamas has proven what happens when we give even a centimeter of land to Arabs. They shoot missiles at us. We left Gaza. We handed it over.
So, not even 3 minutes later in this interview, where he was talking about, like, you know, having Palestinians get their land, go ahead and have a part of Jerusalem and working together, you know, fight against Iran. Immediately, he just goes like, well, you know, if you give Arabs land, they're just going to bomb us. Like, Naftali Bennett has no interest in there being a Palestinian state. He has no interest in Palestinian civilians getting the rights they deserve, getting to return to their homes, or getting even to stay in their new homes that they've been moved to. He has no interest in it at all. It's all 100% just eventually going so that they can take over all of the land and have it be an ethno-state for Israeli Jews. Like, it's
You didn't leave
the
Gaza.
only people who are like going to be allowed in it, 100%.
Come on, you control the airspace, you control the territorial waters, you control the borders, you control the population register. Is that what you call leaving?
Absolutely not. Again, you need to do your homework. We left. The moment they started shooting...
So, apparently that is what he calls leaving, by the way. Controlling who's allowed in or out, who is allowed to live there, controlling the water and electricity. Like, yeah, that's not occupation at all. That's definitely a state that has, like, the right to self-determination there. Sure.
Do you not control the airspace?
Yes, we defend ourselves.
Do you not control the airspace and territorial waters? Do you not? Is that incorrect?
The moment we left Gaza,
I'll take that as a
we handed over the keys to them. We did not seek to control of anything. But make no mistake, Israel will always defend itself against terrorist neighbors. Now, it turns out that every time you give Muslim Arabs a chunk of Israel's land, they turn it into a terror base. We're not going to let that happen. Now, I served in the Israeli military as a major in a commando unit. I lost friends. There's no one wants peace more than me, but peace will be achieved by strength, not by carving out our tiny country and handing it over to our enemies.
You're not carving out your own country. You're withdrawing from occupied territories, which everyone in the world, including Israel's own Supreme Court, regards as occupied territory.
This is the clip that you typically start seeing going around there, where, I mean, it is Israel's own Supreme Court has said what they're doing in Jerusalem is occupying it. Like, but this is the clip that you'll probably see floating around a lot on Twitter.
That's the problem. You can't carve out stuff that's not your own.
Madi, I guess what you need to do is go back and change the Bible. You need to change the narrative of the Bible because it's all there. And I assume
is Israel a theocracy?
All Muslims,
is Israel now a theocracy?
and
Is
Jews,
it a religious state?
I assume.
Why are you quoting the Bible to me? I'm quoting the Supreme
Christians,
Court
Muslims,
of
and
your
Jews.
country. Hold on, the Supreme Court of your
Let me
country.
finish.
Let me just put the quote of the Supreme Court to you, and then you respond.
You're finding
the Judea and Samaria areas are held by the state of Israel in belligerent occupation. That is the view of the Supreme Court of your country. Are you saying the Bible trumps your Supreme Court? Is Israel now a theocracy?
Let me finish.
Let me finish. You need to read the Bible more. It said that we're the good boys who get to have all the land and not some of it. No, we're not a theocracy. We're just a good boy Bible-acy.
Billions of Muslims and Christians believe in the Bible. I assume, including yourself, I don't know. If you want to say that our land does not belong to us, I suggest you go change the Bible first, come back and then show me a new Bible that says that the land of Israel doesn't belong to Jews.
Like there's literally no actual argument for them being allowed to have it. And that, by the way, there are better arguments for it here than just you should read the Bible. Like you should change the Bible and have the Bible not say it. Because you can go, like, if you want to be really, really pedantic about it, you can go back thousands of years to where there were Jewish people who lived in that land, and then just use that as your claim. Like I'm sure so many of you have seen people do when, like, they're kind of backed into a corner when you're arguing against Israel. At least if you argue for Palestine a lot. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that a lot. Now, like, it's just crazy to me that he just went full on just, no, the Bible is the justification. I mean, that's
convenient for you to sort of shove that away. That's fine.
Now, anyway, you've made the religious education point.
You're right.
Yeah. Go on.
Just absolutely
okay, thank
ludicrous.
You. Regarding the Supreme Court in Israel, that's a political decision. It's true that in 1967 we released Judea and Samaria from an occupied status of Jordan. Jordan never owned Judea and Samaria. And Mahdi, I don't know if you know, but there never was a Palestinian state. So you can't occupy something that never was a state.
With respect,
it was held.
I'm quoting
by
the Supreme Court
British,
of your country.
And we, and today.
And it's not a political decision.
And what the Supreme Court of our country is saying...
A Supreme Court gives a decision. It's not a political decision. It's a judicial decision, unless they're so-called judges in your view, as Donald Trump views judges. Maybe that's how you view judges.
Also, about a year or two after this interview is when he founded the New Right Party. And funnily enough, judicial activism is one of the things that that the New Right wants to fight against. Like, I wonder what specific, like, decisions that the Israeli courts have made that Naftali Bennett isn't too happy about.
The Supreme Court is waiting for the government of Israel to decide what is the future. And today, the areas are disputed areas. I understand that the Palestinians want a third Palestinian state in the heart of our country. We need to make a decision, and my decision is very clear. That land is ours, and no one can occupy his own home. The land of Israel has always been Jewish for thousands of years, will always be Jewish. We will enjoy and host within our country millions of Arabs, 1.8 million Arabs that enjoy full citizenship. But it is a Jewish and democratic country. I want to point out, though, Mahdi, one more point.
Okay, very briefly.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Like, I don't think that going back to thousands of years really does much for you when the Nakba happened in, like, 1948, and there were, like, 700,000 Palestinian Arabs that were displaced, or, like, multiples that were killed. It was mostly displacements, but almost 1 million people displaced or killed. Like, if that's closer than the, I don't know, 2,000 years ago claim you have to the land, maybe shut the fuck up. Like, that's such a weak justification for your continued ethnic cleansing.
One more.
Like, I kind of wish that, like, they would just go about being like, yeah, no, this isn't, we want them gone and dead. Like, it's kind of exhausting to have to sit here and listen to bullshit. Like, just absolute bullshit with no bearing in reality. It just because the side that's saying it knows they're in the wrong, but they just can't say, no, we want to kill the Arabs.
More point. There's apartheid, and very severe apartheid, going on in Lebanon and Syria for 50 years, actually for 68 years. The descendants of Palestinian refugees from 1948 have no status there. They're not citizens. They're not even residents. Yep. They can't work in the government, can't become lawyers, can't buy a piece of land.
Come on this show,
I would expect,
I asked questions of those governments. You're
Right.
representing Israel.
Like, this is literally him just going, other countries do bad things too, though. Why can't we do the bad? Like, Mehdi-Hassan's right on point. Like, when those other countries are up to talk, we'll talk about it. But it's not an excuse for your continued occupation, because other countries are doing worse.
Israel, if you really want to talk about apartheid, you know very well that leading South Africans like Desmond Tutu have accused Israel of practicing apartheid. You know that. You brought up the A word, the apartheid word. Desmond Tutu has said when he went to the West Bank, it reminded him of apartheid South Africa. You know that.
I would suggest that we join forces, the Arab world and Israel, to solve the Palestinian refugee problem in the place they live already, in Lebanon,
even though
in
international
Syria,
law
in
guarantees
Jordan,
them a right to
all
return.
across the Arab.
Let me ask you this.
And let me point out one more thing, because you seem to be, hold on, no, you mentioned it, I'll point this out. In the 1948 war, 650,000 Jews were kicked out of the Arab countries. But we don't go on whining for 68 years. That we took them into Israel, gave them citizenship.
So Palestinians
Why
under
can't
occupation
the
are
Arabs
whining?
once and for all take care of their own, take care of...
Like, it's literally just getting to the point where he's just complaining about other Arab countries now. There's no point in going into the rest of this interview. Like, this is all just going to be deflection. So yeah, if you're one of the people who thinks that this new coalition government is going to do great things, I mean, sure, they have a couple of more left-leaning parties that they're working with, that they'll have to work with if they want the coalition to stand. But let's be real here. You're like, the new person coming in was just yelling about how Arabs need to just learn to take care of their own, and we're going to take the land that we want. And the person after that, that's slightly better, that will be coming up as prime minister, thinks that the Palestinian people deserve a state, but also deserve, like, they cannot have a military at all, and also they don't get to have any of Jerusalem. Like, that's what you guys are hoping is going to free the Palestinian people. Okay. Absolutely ludicrous. Let me go ahead and check out this link that you sent, DFK. Because I haven't seen any of the Freedom of Information stuff yet. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check this out here. Just try and close out some tabs so I can find it again. I want to, like... hopefully it says what information came out in it.
And wondered, you know, with younger
Oh god, that's loud. Hold on.
people, if that might be a more persuasive message. And just on this point of your public profile, I read through your emails that were released, and I just want to read one of them. There were a lot of inquiries about your public profile. I mean, this very conversation was much harder to have under the ex-president. And this was your response to one. About whether or not you'd have a press conference. You wrote, yikes, that would make 4 days in a row without a press conference for me, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and tomorrow. I wonder if you feel like you're still making up some of that lost ground from many months under the last administration.
Okay. I mean, okay. Like, there's got to be more pressing information than, like, him wanting to do a press conference, right?
Of not just no information, but disinformation being out there. Do you still see some hardness among his supporters around the vaccine or around some of these messages you're sharing with us today?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that there
people out there who, for one reason or other, resent me for what I did in the last administration, which was not anything that was.
Well, let's be real. The reason that people resent Dr. Fauci for what happened during the COVID pandemic is literally, one, because he was in a position that was impossible to not have people end up kind of dissatisfied with him, because as a disease comes out and it's studied more and more, new information comes out on it more and more and more. So you're going to be frequently giving updates and then having to change some stuff that you've said occasionally. Like where we initially had way more precautions where you're supposed to wipe stuff down and stuff like that. And then it came out, okay, it doesn't live that long on surfaces. That update had to get made and things of that nature. So that was definitely going to contribute to people not liking him. And then add that on top of like the entire thing being made into a political issue for like Trump's bid at a re-election, like that sealed the fate that there was going to be very few people in the country who like Dr. Fauci, and the people who do are going to be like the ultra libs.
Anti-Trump at all. It was just trying to get the right information, to try and get the right data. And what they didn't seem to understand, I guess that's understandable, that they didn't understand it, is that science is a dynamic process. So something that you know in January, you make a recommendation or a comment about it. But as you get more and more information, the information leads you to change, because that's what science is. It's a self-correcting process. So when you hear someone say something at one point, and then 2 or 3 months later, if you stick with what you said at the original time when you had 1/5 the amount of data that you have now, I think that would be inappropriate. It's appropriate, although sometimes...
And like I said, he was in a position where he was guaranteed to have people upset with him. Like, no shot.
It's difficult for people to understand how, as you learn more and more, you've got to continue to evolve with the data. And that's what I was trying to do, is to always tell the truth on the basis of what the data is. And it was never deliberately something against the president. In fact, you spoke about my emails. You look at my emails, I never in the email said anything derogatory about President Trump.
Well, the true mark of someone is if they look good, even when their personal emails come out. So you passed the test that very few of us would pass. Dr. Anthony Fauci, thank you for spending.
Hold on, let's look for some emails then. This one I clicked here from the MSNBC link. Is there any emails in here? Da-da. It said Washington Post was the one that had him, that got the Freedom of Information Act, right? Oh, right, WAPO wants you to pay for their stuff. Can you still do, no, it doesn't let you do that anymore. Crap. Okay. Oh, that's just another... God damn it. That's literally just another Washington Post link. I'm an idiot. DFK, do you have any link to, like, the, to any more of the emails? Okay, hey, here we got something. Dr. Fauci and his colleagues took notice in the early days of the theory that COVID-19... Oh, dope. Cool, let me pop that open too. COVID-19 may have leaked from a laboratory in Wuhan, China. Controversial claim was dismissed by experts late last year, who said it was extremely unlikely. Okay. January 2020 email to Fauci. Wait, what? No, stop trying to open Firefox. I don't know why my computer seems to love Firefox so much, but it really does. Like, it really does. Let's go back to where we were at. Okay. Country's largest biomedical research facility suggested the unusual features of the virus may indicate it is engineered. In April 2020, an email from the director of the National Institute of Health noted the conspiracy gains momentum. This May, Dr. Fauci said he's not convinced that it originated naturally and expressed support for an investigation. Early months of the virus, the government is still working on mask guidance. Masks are really for infected people to prevent them from spreading infection to people who are not infected, rather than protecting uninfected people from acquiring infection. Yeah, I feel like that one was pretty much everyone knew that though, right? Like anyone who understood how a mask works knew that it wasn't going to stop you from getting sick. Like, I kind of feel like that one was just him sending out an email going like, no shit, Sherlock. He added that store-bought masks are not really effective in keeping out the virus, which is small enough to pass the material. Yeah. Big mistake. Not recommending mask use. What is this about? Oh, okay. Actress Morgan Fairchild, who reportedly collaborated with him during the AIDS epidemic, reached out asking how she could help, and Fauci said to tweet, "The American people should not be frightened, but should be prepared to mitigate an outbreak in the country by measures including social distancing, teleworking, temporary closure of schools, etc." And soon after a call with Bill Gates, she was seriously worried about health and safety. All right, let's see if this has any more like word. This is just the text of it. That makes life a lot easier. Well, hold on. This is just a link. Associate from this is from someone else to him. Okay. Seeing the number seems exceptionally high for the number of people who caught it. Like, yeah, that is. It's all pretty interesting stuff. I'm gonna need to like go through these and like compile what's at like will be good for content to make this into a video. I can repeat what he said. He said, "I was not muzzled. However, I was to go on Sunday talk shows, 5 of them. The vice president's office then took over the control of the situation and told me to stand down and not do these shows." Yeah, I mean, okay. Honestly, I'm I'm glad this stuff is out there because like there there was neither side of the media seemed to be saying anything that made any goddamn sense. Like, one side would act like Dr. Fauci was out there to like try to undermine the presidency and destroy any faith that America had left in its president and yada yada yada. So you shouldn't trust anything that he has to say. And then literally the other side would act like fucking like Donald Trump was chaining Dr. Fauci up in a basement and not allowing him out except to go out and speak like once a week or something. Like, neither side were making any goddamn sense. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm glad that he specifically did say he wasn't muzzled too, because, I mean, I don't know, what did people expect? Like, for there to be a press conference literally every day where Fauci would come out and go, like, well, the situation hasn't changed, but here are the new death toll numbers. Like, I don't get it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and favorite that page so I can look at these later. I'll favorite this too, since this is the best text of it. Oh god, I forgot that I even had Tucker Carlson shit up. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I'll check out this clip real quick too before we do this Tucker Carlson bit. Just play.
Morning to you.
There we go. Wait, who is
Welcome
this guy?
back and good morning to you.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. You believe this was a lab leak. Why?
I do, and I really became convinced of that with the WHO report in March.
Didn't we watch this a few days ago? Like, I think last Saturday you sent me this, didn't you?
Which showed definitively that there was no environmental source, there was no intermediary host, there was really nothing linking this to any virus in the natural world.
Yeah, and it was linked to, like, Institute of Virology in Wuhan. Yeah, I remember this. I think I remember because this dude reminds me of Beaker from the Muppets. Oh, no, you're all good, dude. You're all good. Like, yeah, no, I saw his face and I was like, I see him before. I'm gonna drink some water real quick, and then we're gonna do this last reaction, and then I'm gonna play some video games for a minute. Do that before it works. I don't even remember what this is about. I remember seeing there's horses over here. So I think that this has something to do with, like, something about Biden killing horses. So we'll see what that's about. First they came for your chickens, brother. They said that you couldn't that you couldn't love peacock. Now they're coming for your horses. The Biden admin will stop at nothing to come between you and your animals. Luckily, Tucker Carlson is here to stand on the forefront for us, brother, and save us, and let us know that our horses are in danger.
2 years ago, the Bureau of Land Management, the other BLM, set up an incentive program to encourage...
Okay, wow, I put this on like 2 times speed or something, didn't I? Yep, that's straight up 2 times speed, my bad.
2 years ago, the Bureau of Land Management, the other BLM, set up an incentive program to encourage people to adopt Mustangs and burros. And
Thanks. I've been working on my Hulk voice since I was like 4, so I do that, and I think my American Dream Dusty Rose, Betty, is pretty good too. I remember I actually got put on a written warning when I worked at PlayStation. Because I was answering phone calls, and this one dude had water damage on his PS4, and like eventually I just was bored and didn't want to deal with the guy screaming at me anymore, so I just stopped him. I was like, "Look, Daddy, I want to see your PlayStation going to the water." The dude lost. He was pissed. Like, I just fucking hung up. I think I got called in the office like a day or two later. Like, look, very funny. Don't do that again. I'm gonna put you on a writ.
Give them a good home. It was expensive, but a good idea. Thousands of people signed up for it. Now we're learning that many of those horses wound up in slaughterhouses, and many more are on their way there. How'd that happen? Carol,
wait, I just realized I wasn't paying attention to a word he said. Like, I'm sorry.
2 years ago, the Bureau of Land Management, the other BLM, set up an incentive program.
Wait, what does this have to do with the Biden admin then? I thought he said 2 years ago at the beginning, and then, like, it took a second for it to catch up for me. Like, so this is something that the Bureau of Land Management did during Trump's presidency. Oh, okay. Yo, hold on. The horse slaughter, let me get a screenshot of that, too. Because that is right up there with Chicken Alert. In terms of hilarity. For, like, the serious newsman to be sitting there and being like actually justifying having on his show. It's hilarious. Damn it, I accidentally hit new. Sorry, we gotta do one more, boys. We gotta do one more. I was trying to save it and I hit new.
To encourage people to adopt Mustangs and burros and give them a good home. It was expensive, but a good idea. Thousands of people signed up for it. Now we're learning that many of those horses wound up in slaughterhouses, and many more are on their way there.
What?
How'd that happen?
So it was an incentive program to give people money to adopt horses. Like, that doesn't seem like a bad thing to me. That seems like if we have a wild horse problem, it's a good way to take care of, like, the horses, right? I mean, I know that wild horses, at least, like, up in the areas that I lived out, like, outside of Boise when we were farming, weren't the biggest deal. Like, there were literally a couple that were, like, I'm pretty sure broke out of a ranch, like, years before that or something. But wild horses do have a lot of do bring a lot of problems with farming and specifically ranching. So, like, I can see why the Bureau of Land Management, while not morally correct, I could see the reason they'd want to, like, keep down a wild horse population. Now, how does this lead to, like, horses getting slaughtered, though? Like, I'm actually kind of interested. I didn't expect it to start out with, yes, we let you adopt the horses, and then they became glue.
Carol Walker is a horse photographer and an advocate for horses, and we're happy to have her on tonight. Carol, thanks so much.
Carol looks like a horse girl.
So a program
really
designed to save wild horses is instead sending them to the slaughterhouse. How does this happen?
Well, it's not really designed to save wild horses. It's a way for the Bureau of Land Management to launder them, basically to get them out, get rid of them, and not be responsible for sending them to slaughter.
Well,
at the time that they set this program up
like, I kind of assumed that the Bureau of Land Management didn't care about the horses all that much. Like, that's why I said not morally correct, because I'm willing to bet the Bureau of Land Management doesn't give a shit what happens to the horses after they're not their problem anymore.
2019, I was horrified because I knew what was going to happen. And what happens is people will take the horses, they'll get their money, and then their $1,000, and then they take them to auctions and get another, say, $500 for them, and the horses go to slaughter. And it's very inhumane, and it's a terrible solution. It's not a solution.
Wait, what do you get from like what are horses used for? Like, because we don't buy horse meat to eat or anything, right? Like, what do you slaughter horses for? Like, what are the slaughterhouses buying them for? For meat consumption? No way. No fucking shot. Who's eating it? Like, no way. Horses in the United States are not bred or raised for meat. Nearly all equine medication and treatments are labeled, not for horses, intended for human consumption. Meat from American horses raises a number of potential health concerns, primarily due to the routine use of medications banned in food and animals, and lack of tracking of such use. Unlike livestock, for food, there's no way to guarantee the medication's been used in a particular horse. There were some in Mexico that were slaughtered. Most American horses destined for slaughter are transported to EU-regulated plants in Mexico and Canada. Okay. That makes sense. So they are being sold to slaughterhouses, just not American slaughterhouses. Yeah, I'm a socialist, Lavender. Well, that makes a lot more sense. I was like, who the fuck's out here, like, eating horse meat? I've never seen, like, a horse meat steak in the grocery store or something, you know what I mean? But if it's to be moved to different markets, then that makes sense.
What we need is for people to stop. We need the Bureau of Land Management to stop rounding up wild horses, to manage them on our federal public lands humanely, and use birth control instead of rounding them up and removing them and then stockpiling them. $70 million the BLM spent last year warehousing the wild horses. This is 70% of their budget. And they just got an...
Whoa, really? Like, 70% of BLM's, like, fucking budget is on, like, taking care of horses? That's wild. Is there a way to look that up? Like, Bureau of Land Management expenses, I guess. There we go, budget. That budget probably would have been better if I'm looking for the word budget, dummy. Like, think. 160 million. 30% going to conserving land and water by 2030. I mean, there's no like other expenditures, like percentage of expenditures listed here, just like the specifics of where that's going for like conservation outreaches and stuff like that. So I mean, it could be entirely possible that 70% of their money is spent on like dealing with wild horses. That's just crazy to me, though. I'm not even saying like it has to be incorrect or something. I just want to see like how much money is that? That's like $112 million per year that the Bureau of Land Management spends on dealing with wild horses. It's fucking nuts. Okay. I mean, like, SocDems and Neolibs, I guess, don't really stream too much. Sorry that you don't like lefties. Like, sucks. Like, don't really know what to tell you about that. Yeah, let's go ahead and get back to this video here. Because, like, I just never considered how much money our government has to spend on, like, just dealing with wild horses. Like, over $100 million a year.
Extra $35 million in their budget for roundups and warehousing horses, and they're planning to take over 90,000 horses over the next 5 years and stockpile them. Instead of saying, well, gee, it would be much cheaper to manage the horses where they belong on our public lands and much more humane. These horses live in families. There are stallions, mares.
So don't get me wrong, I do agree with her that it would be a lot more humane. but I also don't think that that's what the Bureau of Land Management cares about at all. Like, I'm willing to bet there's a reason that they don't want, like, it's typically agricultural is the reason that they don't want wild animals, or specifically wild horses, to be roaming around. I mean, we had it wasn't horses, but we had a problem with, like, wild dogs out in the farm that I lived on when I was younger in Boise, Idaho. So, well, outside of Boise, Idaho. So, like, I can absolutely see problems with wild animals that the Bureau of Land Management would be trying to deal with. I mean, cheaper is definitely one of their priorities for sure. That's always a government priority when it comes to literally anything that could be used to help people that aren't specifically the people passing the budget. So, I mean, but let's see. I guess we'll see what her suggestion is. I just don't know, like, what the solution is that allows them to not have problems with wild horses and do it more humanely. I can see birth control being a big thing with it, but, like, I don't know what, like, the be-all, end-all solution for that would be, honestly.
And youngsters, and sometimes the stallions and mares have been together for over a decade, and they have real bonds, and they're families. And to rip them apart, to rip the families apart and stick them in holding facilities is the most insanely cruel thing that can be done to these horses. Right now, there are 12... Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I mean, of all the things going on in this country that need fixing, is there some reason we need to bother the wild horses in the first place? If they're on federal, we have vast reserves of federal land. We do have a lot of that. Why are we hassling the wild horses? Do you know?
Because the livestock industry has a huge amount of power and money, and they want all the horses gone. They want the horses removed from public lands. They don't want to share.
Okay. So yeah, like what was very obviously going to be the reason. Industries wanted to use the land to make more money, and they don't want wild horses like going through it and fucking up their agricultural projects. I don't think it's correct to do, but, like, very obvious why this is happening. And it's kind of funny to me, like, how many problems Tucker Carlson has on his show that are a direct problem of corporate players having too much money in the government, and a direct problem, I mean, capitalism allowing that to happen. But he'll just go ahead and gloss over that part, and then just go, you see, these elites don't want you to have your liberties.
And even though right now we have livestock grazing on 155 million acres, and wild horses are only on 27 million acres, they want them all gone. And so this is why this whole cycle has been set up. And there are currently 1,200 horses at Canyon City, Colorado, that were rounded up last year that the public has not even been able to see or adopt, even though we have been trying really hard. The excuse has been COVID.
I mean, probably. I was going to say, I mean, it's probably something to do with them not wanting to do a horse auction mid-COVID. Like, was what I was willing to bet. But yeah, like, I don't know. This is a problem that was started under the Trump administration, hasn't been related to Biden at all, but for some reason, there's still this big banner across the bottom of it going, Biden admin program sending horses to slaughter. Like, this is a program that was started by the Trump admin and doesn't actually send horses to slaughter, at least on purpose. It just doesn't really do much to guarantee that the people who purchase them won't go and just auction them off to slaughterhouses. Which I do agree is bad. There needs to be something done about that for sure. It's just, I don't know, this is kind of like, this was an interesting news story in and of itself, at least to me. I've been interested by it. I don't see why there's even the need to do the whole, like, trying to link it, well, the need to try and link it to Joe Biden is just to play the political game. But, like, there's literally nothing about this that has anything to do with the Biden admin.
Horses to find good homes, you would want to make them available to people.
Yeah, you
And
would.
I'm just horrified that this plan is a continuation of the same old thing that the Bureau of Land Management is doing, which is rounding up and warehousing these horses. It's not right. It's not good for the horses. It's not good for the American people who love wild horses.
Of course. I mean,
I
it's
have been-
Wait,
I
what?
spend-
What? I did not expect that to be a take that comes out here. It's not good for the American people that love wild horses? What the fuck is she talking about? Like, you know, maybe it's because I haven't lived in Montana or some shit where there's like a ton of wild horses just hanging about. But I've never known someone that's like, yeah, I really like horses. Don't want to look at horses that like somebody owned or anything though. I specifically like going out into the hills of Montana or wherever and just sitting around with a camera waiting to see a horse. Like, I mean, all right, if that's your thing, do your thing.
Hundreds of hours each year with them, and it's tremendous. It's wonderful to be able to spend time with them.
I believe you. I think it's okay to have wild horses on public land. It sounds like a good thing to me. Carol, I appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you. I think most people weren't even aware that was happening.
Thank you, Sue.
Also, Tucker Carlson 100% would not be okay with horses being around on public property if it was anywhere near him. Like, if Tucker Carlson walked out of his studio and for some reason wasn't directly into his car back to his house, like, and turned the corner on a street to a horse, the dude would not be happy about it. Like, let's get that part straight. As much as Tucker Carlson likes to play the man of the people thing, and like, especially his whole like anti-corporation, like all those dastardly corporations to trying to take over the land. I mean, it is bad what they're doing right now, don't get me wrong. But his entire shtick with that too is just him being like covering up and like ignoring the fact that he's literally the heir to the fucking Swanson Foods fortune, and like one of the elite that he has the problem with. But you know what? Just take this to heart, brother. If you want to come and take my chicken from me and take my horse from me, you're gonna have to pry him from my cold dead hands, brother. Me and Bacock and Clop Clop aren't going nowhere, brother. Semper Fi. Oh, shit. And, like, you know that there is some right-winger who watched this, like, legit sat there and watched it and was furious. Like, legit mad about the libs trying to take your horses away. When it's literally a, like, Trump admin policy that doesn't affect them directly at all. Man, I kind of wish that I would just like pretend had never made a lefty channel, like never talked about my politics at all, and just went full grift. Like if I had no moral compass, 100% the play would be for me to do the whole Candace Owens, Larry Elder, like, you know, black people, just do the black people need to leave the DNC thing, and then sit around and just yell about chickens and horses and crap all day. It has to be so much easier, right? Like, I literally research and look into things that I talk about and do. Like, I didn't talk about Israel and Palestine until I at least knew a little bit of the history between Israel and Palestine, and like knew a little bit of the history of at least what the Nakba was, and like where the formation and how long like that nation has been led, all of that. When Dave Rubin can literally just fucking go on to a show and just say Israel good, Palestine bad, should stop bomb. And then after that, it's all good, baby. All in the clear. Like, shit. It'd be so much easier. And, like, I have the black thing on my side, too, so I could do the whole, like I said, the Larry Elder Candace Owens grift. Man. Like I said, if I had just a little bit less of a moral compass, man, and hadn't have talked about my politics openly, I could grift. Fucking wish. But I'd feel too bad about it is the thing. Like, I don't believe the things that I believe for personal gain. I believe them for what I feel are pretty good reasons. And, like, I'm, at the end of the day, a humanist and, like, a humanitarian. So I want what's good for most people out there. So if I was sitting around causing direct harm and, like, pushing disinformation and saying shit I didn't believe, I would feel really terrible about it and probably wouldn't be able to handle it. So that's why I never even really considered the griftosphere. But man, it has to be so much if you don't have that, like, behind you where you can't do it, like, the griftosphere has to be so much easier to live with, dude. Or like to make a living with. Like, being a leftist actually takes some fucking work. And then everyone else who's a leftist will tell you you're not left enough anyway. It sucks. It sucks. Like, I legit get ping-ponged from right-wingers calling me, like, fucking General Mao. To, like, when you go over to the other side of the aisle and you're looking at liberals, they still think I'm a little bit Mao-esque, but they won't say that. And you go to lefties, and suddenly I'm, like, this counter-revolutionary fucking, Margaret Thatcher. Like, I've legit been called, like, a colonizer before, dude. Like, it's wild. It's fucking wild. But yet you go to the other side of the aisle, and apparently I'm just out here swinging a hammer and sickle flag, standing North Korea and shit. Like, politics, at least engaging online with politics, is exhausting. I really, really, really miss in-person, like, organizing. Need to get back to it. Really do need to get back to it. Alright. Let me go ahead and change out this title, and we're gonna play. So, what game should we play? I don't have much times. Like always, I don't have much time to play. Because I fucking talk too much. Or I should just wake up earlier and give you guys a 3-hour stream instead of a 2.5-hour stream. But I'm already pretty, like, burnt out most days. Gridiron, that's what I'm gonna play. I'm bad, though, so don't, yeah, whatever. If anyone wants to chat politics, go ahead and hit me up. I'm down to talk politics while I'm playing games all the time. It's actually what I'd like my streams to be mostly doing. I really like playing games, and I like just chatting it up. Especially, hey, if that Sockdem is still in the chat, I mean, say what, like, talk to me. What's up? Why is it that you don't like socialists so much that you, like, specifically were like, oh, Sag? Not trying to call you out or anything, just want to see, like, what's going on. What was I? Oh, yeah. There we go. Launching Gridiron. I'll go ahead and get us some musics going too. We ain't doing that synth wave or whatever I played at the beginning though. I've been trying to, like, not just play lo-fi stream beats. But that's the one I really like. Guys, I'm not into electronic music at all. Turn that down a bit. There we go. Now we just need to wait for Gridiron to launch. I know it's launched, it's just not showing on my screen. Very lovely. Okay, maybe I might have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kill this process and then reopen it. Wow, it's not even letting me pull up my task manager right now. Wild. What the fuck? There we go, closed out now. Yeah, I have no idea what just happened to my computer there. That's crazy. Let's try this again. It's working fine this time. Yeah, it's working absolutely fine this time. They added a, actually I want to change this a little bit. I don't like the Moist Critical skin. But they added Moist Critical as a skin to this game, dude. And if you play him like 100 times, or if you win match with him 100 times, you get one where he's like a mecha Moist Critical. Let me turn down that music more for you. There you go. Hopefully we can get a game or two in. I was having trouble finding matches last night. I tried to, but I only got into like 2 matches. I wonder what 1v1 would be like. How do you play that? Because for those of you who don't know, Gridiron is a sports game, a football game, where you it's like 7v7, at least the mode that I've played, and you all play your own position and actually have to play football. So I don't know how 1v1 would work. There we go, we got a game. I was gonna say maybe I'll have to go to 1v1s. We got a game, boys. I'm very bad, so if they give me QB, we're done. We're probably not gonna win anyway, but if they give me QB, it's over. I like playing O-line, because I can just block. We'll load up eventually, boys. All according to Keikaku. What the That's infuriating, dude. What? Oh my god. It's just kicking me out now. Can I just not play? Can I just not play? We'll try 1v1. 1v1's loading. Let's see if I can get a 1v1 match in at least. Okay, I can play 1v1s. I guess that's what we're going to be doing. Or not. What the fuck, dude? Alright, I'm going to close the game and retry that. Because, like, I played a couple matches last night, no problem. I mean, I had to wait to search for somebody, but, like... I even got an interception last night. It's cool. Felt good. Good times. But now I can't even get in the game to play. Like... Let's try that again. Okay, it's not resetting after 5 seconds again, so that's a good sign at least. First rule of football is to always stay hydrated, by the way. The second rule is to pray for a good cue. Hey, the prayers worked. Do I get to play this time? Am I gonna get to play? I'm gonna get to play. Cool. Oh, yo. None of our team is out there. What the fuck? That's a touchback. I don't know how it decides what section you're in. Apparently I'm a tight end. Oh god, close that. I don't know what pass route to run. Come on, I broke him. Hell yeah, that's a clean catch. That's a touchdown right there, boys. Yeah, I have no idea, like, what the, like, routes he wants me to run for wide receiver or anything is. I'm gonna try to get this in a corner catch, though. Hell yeah, clean conversion. That dude's on me like fucking... like a fly on wax paper, though, dude. Like, he's sticking to me. I'm gonna have to work on breaking the run a bit. Okay. I am not gonna be a good cornerback, I can guarantee you that. Oh, are we blitzing? We blitzing, boys. We blitzing, boys. Oh, damn it. We needed to get that sack for that to work, though. I'm gonna try to play coverage. You and me, Chesney Bill. Or not, Chesney Bill. From what I heard people saying on mics yesterday, apparently, shit, no way anyone was catching that. Apparently, there's like a super heavy, like, run meta. Damn. Oh, he's not even trying to pass it. Oh boy. Okay. It's okay. This is all according to plan. We wanted them to be this close, so they'd feel more confident. Oh my god, I'm out of fucking stamina. I didn't have it for the slide. Good fucking interception though. Hell yeah, brother. Is he running this backwards, dude? Alright, eventually he had to run it out of bounds, but like, that was dope. Alright, I'm gonna try to go for like a quick post play, see if we can get a catch off that. Alright. Well, throw in interceptions, I guess. So I guess we'll do that instead. Okay, try this one more time. I'm gonna try to cover wet noodles, I guess. So you got to get that interception. You have to get that. And you couldn't run it for. At least we got the interception. All right, I'm gonna run a slant. Where is he throwing this shit, dude? Like, all right, I'm just gonna run quick. I'm gonna run like the slantiest slant. Just toss the ball here, bro. Was that an interception or did we catch it? We caught it, okay. I shouldn't give him too much shit. Quarterback is very hard in this game. Like, I don't understand how to throw the ball where you want it at all. Wait, did he just do a juke? Let's go, boys! Gridiron! Oh, he has got lit up. Oh, shit. Alright, twin left. I think that means he wants me to go that way, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do a hook. What the fuck was that? Like, he did not pass that where I was at all. I was on the left side of a fucking slant. Alright. We got a tackle in at least, boys. Ah, damn, she got me. I'm gonna try to cover Gummy. Oh, I thought Gummy was gonna try to fucking catch. Yo, this blitzing team needs to get on them. Like, Jesus. We had coverage the entire time. Gummy's gonna try to block and do a run again. This is my chance! No. At least I put pressure on him. Like, if I had gotten a step closer, I would have been able to dive and get a sack. Son of a bitch. Damn it! Oh, I thought I had him. Was that a touchdown? No, it was a conversion. Oh shit. It might be a safety though if he gets sacked here. We just need to move this ball, boys. Pass it up! Oh, he's fucking running it, apparently. Like what? It got yards. Moved us from the line, like... I'll try run another slant here. Damn, I am so covered. Go, boy, go! What the fuck? Dude's AFK. Son of a bitch. At least we got that one touchdown at the beginning, because we're not scoring again, ever. Like, it's 3rd and 28 now, bruh. Oh my god, did he catch that? Hell yeah. Good job, dude. I think this game's really fun, though. Like, it's fun. It's ridiculous and stupid, but it's fun. Just toss it up. Just toss it up. Just toss it up. Toss it. Damn it! I tried to fucking get a jump on it. He just ran into him. Yo. Like, once again, can't say anything. I'm pretty garbo. Hey, is that a conversion or did we catch that? I literally can't tell. Hey, we're still good. Ooh, toss it up. Did I get the touchdown? I don't think I got the touchdown. But I got in. Okay. Woo. We almost got the touchdown. I'm gonna block for this time to stay away from my boy. Just run it in. Or, you know what? Pass the touchdown. What am I saying? I'm gonna try to block one more time. Oh, I did. Nope, no I'm not. Just pass it. That dude just went right past me. It sucks with the, like, getting wide receiver. Like, I'm down with it, but our team needs a lot more of a blocking core right now. And the plays that we're picking have a spread so far out, I can't really block too much. I'm gonna try to stick to gummy and wet noodles again. Oh, apparently they're trying to block. Now I'm gonna try to stick to gummy. Alright, yeah, toss it out. That's good. I can work with that. Shit. Oh, wow, I can't believe he didn't catch that. Wow, if he had caught that, that would have been really good for him, honestly. Run and kick it, bro. There you go. Oh, yeah, he was done no matter what. If he didn't get him, I was going to get him. I was not paying attention at all. Oh my god. Glad that worked out. I was over there just looking at my audio levels, kind of like la-da-da. Oh, that was a clean toss there. It wasn't even far. I thought that got them the first. That sucks. I mean, that's good for us. That sucks for them, though. There we go. Move it further back. I do not envy anybody who ends up as like the quarterback and team captain, though. It's hard. That is not easy. Got him! Hell yeah! Turned it over like right next to their shit, too. Alright. I'm gonna try go for a quick post. Yeah! Hell yeah! That was good. I feel proud about that. I caught that from that dude's hands, bro. Oh, this game's awesome. Back here, bro. I got it. Toss me the rock. Easy. There were so many spots open for him to pass. There was no way we were getting that. We have timeouts and everything in this game too, don't we? Okay. I don't see the point of one right now, but like, it's not like we're gonna strategize. Although apparently there's ranked for this, so there might be more strategizing there. What are they doing with this? Are they gonna run it? They are gonna run. I fucking knew it. If I hadn't missed that, they're gonna run it again. I have to just hit in that pocket. Fuck you, dude. Like, no way I'm letting you have this open pocket. Like, I'm literally just going to move in anytime I see that position. I'm going to close that center pocket, then fucking play coverage. What did I swing my mouse that hard for? Damn it. Oh, that would have been perfect, but I swung my mouse super far to the right. I think I panicked or something. Fuck. That's my bad. Those sacks got him scared now, though. He's just playing fast plays. There's no way they're running it on this. I gotta pull back a bit. Nope, again. Fuck you. I hit him! Bro. Oh, no. They might get a, like, comeback out of this. Thank you. Like, get us deep in there. Make that a hard line for him to get through. Just keep on playing that, dude. Keep playing that. Keep on... No, keep a 5-2. Alright. Fuck it. I like nickel defenses a lot, too, honestly. But I think that's just from the era that I grew up watching football. Like, big plays and nickel defenses were kind of the thing back in the day. Now it's more about smaller, safe, moving it down the field kind of shit. Bitch! I don't know who you thought you were! Death Dealer, what is that? Make a diving tackle, okay. Alright. There's no one... I'm gonna try to run a slant to the right. Pass it up, bruh! I didn't... How did I not catch it? I was standing in the circle. What do you mean, don't stand on the target? Like, how is that... How do you not... How do you catch the ball, then? I guess you have to jump for it or some shit. Okay. Like, literally, the catching practice for this game tells you to stand in the circles. Figured with no coverage, I'd be safe to do that shit. Oh well, I'm gonna run a slant to the right again. Boop, break him. Boop. What was that? Tackle him! I don't have the stand. Oh no. Oh no. That's painful to see. I think it should not make the noise when it misses, because you can't tell if somebody caught it or not. I mean, you can tell with the feed once it comes up, but, like, I'd like to know from an audio cue, you know what I mean? Okay. Just gotta shut that down another 2 times. Let's go, boys. I didn't even know he was gonna toss it. If I did, I would have jumped for an interception. That just suddenly flew over my head. I don't know what he thought he was gonna get out of that. Hell yeah. Easy and clean, baby. In the corner? Fuck. I dived for it at least, like... Alright. I think we've squared this game away, no problem. What? They're gonna run it again. Like, they didn't even try to hide that they're gonna run it again. Like, we need to keep playing that tight defense shit. Like, you're not gonna get anywhere with this, dude. You need to throw your ball. If we know you're gonna run every time, you got no chance. Got one of their players just AFK'd. I don't know how people crouch. I want teabag. That's so far over target, bro. If we have time, I'll show you how passing works in this game so you can see why they're over target, though. Because it is not easy. All of us were going for it. No one was letting that ball drop. Okay, I'll run just the right corner again. There were so many people waiting for it. Fucking 34-0. Mercy rule him at this point. It's always good when you get 1 or 2 people who are good on your team that can make up for my baddiness, though. Because I'm not good. Gotcha, bitch! I'm not good. Like, I can do stuff like that every once in a while, but I'm no good at this. Shit, I wasn't paying attention again. I was looking at all the Charlies. It's still so funny to me that, like, Moist Critical played this on stream once, and then forever after that, they were just like, yeah, no, he's a character. Damn it! Damn it! No, he's gonna get a touchdown. There's no way I can catch up. Oh, that was such a good run. Oh. Whatever, they have 18 seconds and the clock is running. Because they aren't using their timeout. I need to not swing, I need to just go straight in the middle. I'm worried he's gonna take a left, but he never does. I need to just go straight to the middle on it. Oh, or the game just ends. See my level 1-ness? Okay, skip, I guess. Yeah, oh, there's stats, okay. I got 7 blocks, 5 tackles, 3 sacks, 60 receiving yards. I mean, I didn't do too bad. I scored a touchdown. Wasn't me no touchdowns. I jumped over that guy's head and scored it, didn't I? Or was that an extra point conversion? Maybe it's saying he's the only one that has touchdowns, so it has to be like thrown them. Because that's the only thing that makes any sense to me. Yeah, negative 39 rushing yards. That was the quarterback for sure. Well, that was my first match that I've actually gotten all the way through without it disconnecting, so that's cool. I'm not sure what is the new thing that it wanted me to look at. There's a corn fucking ball, dude? Hell yeah, I want the corn ball. How do I select it? I guess I have to go standard for now, and then you unlock it. I'll find what's new in there later. What time is it? Okay, I got time to show you. So let me show you what passing in this game looks like. So you can kind of understand why people are having a problem doing it. Also, you run like you need to poop. But so passing is this. Like, you hold right click and then you left click to throw. And you have to just kind of angle it off of how far you think it needs to go for where they are. That's why people aren't doing too many pinpoint passes on people's passing routes and shit. Like, it's not exactly easy. And you'll usually see people doing jumps when they throw too, to try to prevent interceptions. But like, so you can see where the problem is. Like, you want to throw a Hail Mary, you gotta like do that, and then it doesn't even get that far. Like, you think it'd go a lot farther, right? But if I angle it like this here, let's see. Goes almost the exact same, even though it's an entirely different angle. Like, it's not easy to do this shit. Now you add in, like, having to do it while you're on the run moving and throwing spot passes like that. It's not easy. Actually, let me do one more training. We'll look at some of the passing routes. Because really, all I've been doing whenever I get receiver is I'm running the routes I remember from when I actually played football in high school and, like, middle school. So I've been running, posts, I've been running, slants and, like, flags and shit. But, like, I don't ever know what they want people, like, what people want me to be running. I think that should get him. No? Damn it. Oh, that should have been perfect, like, right on his route. Too short. You see what I mean, though? It is not easy to do this, like... Yeah, we'll go ahead and quit out of it. But yeah, Gridiron, very fun. It's free to play right now, so if you're looking for something like fun to fill in some time, like before work, like I'm doing, or just, you know, game to play, and you really like football like I do, I'd highly suggest it. I've been having a blast with it. That's going to be the end of my stream for today, though, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get myself ready for my wagey cagey. Hope you all have yourselves a wonderful day, and I will see you again on Saturday.